Hello everyone, welcome to Screen Walks. My name is Marco Demutis. I work as digital curator at Fotomuseum Winterthur. Screen Walks is a collaborative program initiated by the Photographers Gallery in London and Fotomuseum Winterthur in Switzerland, with support by Pro Helvetia. This series of fortnightly live-streamed events was created in 2020 as a joint effort by both institutions to continue the investigation on the changing role of photography in its digital and networked forms. Every screen walk is led by an artist, a curator, or a researcher performing guided explorations of the places where their core practice takes place. Invited participants take the audience through different online spaces and network images, from obscure platforms to popular websites, seen through the eyes and screens of our guests. From drone vision to satellite images, no screen walk is ever the same. Artists, researchers, and curators are invited and encouraged to play with the properties of the live stream as well as the possibilities of screen sharing. If this is your first screen walk, please make sure to visit our website screenwalks.com to check the recordings of all our previous events. Our archive now counts almost 40 events. For those of you in Zoom, your microphone should be muted. If not, please go ahead and mute it now. This event is being recorded and will be archived, so please turn off your camera if you don't want to be recorded. Feel free to send questions to me or to John privately, Fotomuseum Winterthur or the Photographers Gallery, in the public chat or privately to us, and we'll bring you bring your questions to our guest.
And hello everyone, and welcome back to Screenwalks from my side too. I'm John, curator of digital programs at the Photographers Gallery here in London. Our first Screenwalk of the 2022 season is going to take us into a virtual guided visit through a number of ruins. A very fitting theme for a time in which many cultural and political structures seem to crumble while we are trying to get out from the terrible effects of a global pandemic still. Today, Juan Covelli is going to share Modern Ruin with us, a project first developed for the Google Maps residency program run by Offsite Project, which, by the way, we highly recommend you to go and check. In this work, Covelli uses publicly available media to document and pinpoint a number of recent major engineering projects that have collapsed just before or after reaching completion. These failed architectural projects are all located in different areas of Colombia and reflect on a national ingrained corruption crisis, which has been even cost the cost of life. Covelli collects scattered online images, videos, and articles that help understand the economic and political foundations of those catastrophes, as well as their harmful impact on the Colombian environment and society. All these materials are then organized and published using a customized map on Google Maps, exploring the possibilities that the network culture has to offer. Covelli is a Colombian artist and independent curator currently living and working in Bogotá, where he teaches at Universidad del Bosque, Universidad Javeriana, and also runs the online platform N-1. A graduate of MA, Contemporary Photography, Practice and Philosophies at Central St. Martin's, Covelli's practice often revolves around the technological potentials of 3D scanning, modeling, and printing to readdress entrenched arguments of repatriation and colonial histories. Using video, modeling, datasets, and coding, he creates IRL and URL installation-based works which collapse historical practices with current models of display and digital aesthetics. Juan Covelli was recently awarded the Lumen Prize for Moving Image, and his work has been exhibited in galleries and museums such as the Warrington Museum Art Gallery in the UK, Galería ADM in Mexico City, the Museum Miguel Ángel Urrutia Banco de la República in Bogotá, Colombia, the Festival Arte, Pensamiento y Tecnología FabTech at the Centro Cultural de España in Montevideo, Uruguay, or the 5th Moscow International Biennale for Young Artists in Moscow in Russia, among many other places. This is our introduction today, dear Juan. We are very happy and excited to have you with us today. As we always say, the screen is yours.
Thank you, John and Marco, for the invitation. I'm here at the project that I'm just talking about. This is behind me. You can see the chamber of máquinas of the turbine hall for the Eritrango dam that was destroyed or almost got destroyed a few years back. So I'm just gonna share my screen. I'm gonna start talking about this project. I'm working in my little computer, my laptop, because my big computer died on me, so my screen is a bit small. So it's gonna be a lot of things going on around. So I'm sorry about that. So firstly, so I'm going to talk about this project called Modern Ruin. This project, I made it in 2019 on upon an invitation of Offsite Project. That's a curatorial duo that lives and works in London. I met them there. I think Pita is around there. I saw her name. So hi, Pita. So basically, they call me one day and they're like, "Hey, you want to work with this project? This is a residency, like residency. We're just gonna give you a password to get into a Google Maps, and then you can do whatever you want." So I was like, "Okay, that sounds cool." I didn't know really what to do. I was just back from the UK. I lived there for 10 years. And I moved back to Colombia end of 2019. And my practice until then, it was just on heritage and on archaeology. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do something with that. I'm just gonna start pointing museums where there is a heritage of Colombia in the world. And then I started to get all this news, and I started to read about all this news about mega projects like engineering projects are going wrong in Colombia. So we call that here, we give them a name, and it's very popular, elefantes blancos, which mean white elephants. White elephants because it's concrete, they're big. So that's the name we gave them. So I started to kind of gather information, read through a lot of news, and started to make this map. So yeah, like the map works like it's really easy. The map is here. There's a lot of layers. So if I put all these layers, you could see all the other works of the fellow artists that have been working. So it's very populated. I just left the mine zone, so it's easier where I want to understand what's going on. I'm just gonna walk you through what I did and how I did it. I'm gonna talk about a few of the projects I think they're important, and then I'm gonna show you how I kind of put things in, how I work with this map, if that's okay. You hear me well? It's all good? Yeah, cool, amazing. So yeah, so basically this is my country, Colombia, in a map. There it is. And there's a lot of things that have been happening in the last few years with constructions, with ruins, modern ruins that they shouldn't be ruins. The first one I was more interested in is located in Antioquia. Antioquia is one of the richest regions of Colombia. The capital is Medellin. I'm sure you have heard about Medellin. Pablo Escobar is from there, and there's a lot of other people, and J Balvin also. Sorry. And then there is this thing called Eritrango. Eritrango is the largest dam to be built in Colombia. It was supposed to have an astonishing 225 meters high, and it was supposed to hold about 20 million cubic meters. And it's very important for us in Colombia because we have a shortage in electricity. And then this hydroelectric was gonna do about the 17% of the whole electricity for the grid in Colombia. So how I do take this away so I can, okay, here. Can I hide this? No. No, okay. So Eritrango here, I did this little drawing about of the dam with Photoshop. I was just playing around. Is this dam, and it was fought on 1969 actually. There was when the government and the local government started to think about this project. They wanted to. I don't know if I'm sharing my whole screen or just one. Hold on, if I do this.
Yeah, we can see this.
And if I do this, and hold on. If I do this, you can see that? No.
Yeah, we can see. We can see the whole screen.
Okay, so you can see the other bits I'm dragging out.
I know that one's kind of censored or
Okay,
grayed
then
out.
let me just do it again then. I knew something was happening. Compartir, desktop. That's now it's working, yeah? Yeah? Can you see the whole thing?
Yeah, we can see the whole screen now.
Oh, amazing. So basically, so we needed more electricity. So they said, okay, we're gonna do this dam. And they thought, okay, we're gonna do it with the second largest river of Colombia, which is the Rio Cauca. Rio Cauca is born in Paramonas Papas, which is a very high altitude ecosystem. No, Paramo. This nice place. This is a very nice illustration by Alexander von Humboldt, for instance, of the Paramonas Papas. So it's the second largest river of Colombia, and it goes all the way from here, from the south, all the way up to the north when it feeds into El Magdalena, which is the largest river of Colombia, and it goes all the way to Barranquilla, where it ends in the sea. So this river is very important for the people who live along the shore of this river. There's agriculture, livestock, fishing. Well, there's a lot of things that happen in this river. And then EPM, which is the biggest company, public company in Colombia, decided they're gonna block the river. They're gonna dam the river. So EPM started to trying to get them the license for this project, and they got the license given on 2009. Even though in this area, these mountains here, there is a geological fault, and there is a lot of seismic, there's a lot of earthquakes and things. They didn't care. They said like, oh yeah, this is fine, nothing's gonna happen. And they went with the construction of this dam that started in 2012, and in 2018 this happened. I'm gonna show you a little bit.
César, claro, yo, este huevo, oiga, venite para acá, oye, vení, otra. Están energizados.
So basically what happened was Eritrango, in 2000, in order to build this this dam, they have to do some tunnels to get the river pass and not affect the building of the wall. So they had 3 tunnels. They had these 2 tunnels here, and they had a 3rd tunnel here. There was the tunnel where the turbines hole is. So what happened was that there was an earthquake, and these 2 tunnels got blocked. That means the whole of the dam started to fill. They didn't have this finished. That's the dump, the vertedero. So if the level of the water would reach the top, it would just go through the wall and it would be a disaster. So what they did, what they had to do in order to stop that was to fill up this chamber, which is the chamber of the turbines, with water. So they fill it up with water, and this was the result when they could take the water out. So they had to destroy a lot of equipment and a lot of work to kind of like save the people down the stream. So what happened was, when that happened, the 2nd largest river of Colombia got drowned. So this is how it looked down the stream after Eritrango. And about 40,000 fish died in that time, and a lot of people suffered from hunger. That was some pictures of what happened there. So after that, after a few days of this problem, these 2 tunnels got unblocked because of the pressure of the water, and suddenly let me just put it here. This happened. Basically, all the water was held in the dam, got released, and it took away roads, bridges, houses, and a lot of people lost their houses. That was kind of the end of this crisis of the Eritrango Dam at that point. That was 2018. Since then, this dam was supposed to be finished. Was supposed to be finished by now, actually, by 2022. They're saying it's going to be finished by 2028. There's a lawsuit going on because of the way this was dealt. And nowadays there is more money put into this project. No one is sure if this is going to be ever working, and they have spent $3.8 billion in this project, and fortunately no one has died. But this is kind of the most dramatic elefante blanco that we have in Colombia at the moment, and I wanted to start with it. So that was kind of like the idea behind the project. I was just looking into this sort of constructions, this sort of projects, and kind of looking how it developed. So the other one I wanted to show you, it was here in this road between Villavicencio and Bogota. It is, I think it's 98 kilometers from Villavicencio to Bogota, but I remember since I was a kid that this road is very difficult. There's a lot of landslides. There's a lot of landslides in there. There's a lot that the terrain is not very steady. Rains a lot, rains all the time. And And there's a lot of people that have lost their lives in that. So why is this road so important? Why is this road so important? Because in Villavicencio, it's kind of the gate to get to the plain areas of Colombia, which is all of this. And here we have a lot of agriculture, and we have a lot of livestock, kind of almost all the meat that we consume in Colombia and we send abroad is produced in this area. So, and because we don't have trains, everything goes through the road. So the government spent a lot of money building these amazing roads to get. So nowadays they said you can go from Bogota to Villavicencio in about 90 minutes. Well, that's what they said. We're not so sure, but now it's working. Now it's good. Now you can actually go to Villavicencio in a good time, because when I was a kid, you would take about 6 to 8 hours in 90 kilometers. So it was a bit crazy because there was always blockage, always. So they were building this called Puente Chirajara, another of my drawings with Photoshop of the bridge. And we're just going to show you first how it ended up. So it was under construction. It was they didn't even open it before it collapsed. What happened? I'm going to show you a video here, more video. So basically it collapsed on itself. It was actually January 2018. In the bridge at the moment, there was about 18 people working. 10 of them lost their lives. And what happened with this was the company that was building the actual the bridge altered the designs to get more money. So the design had a bit of some sort of like materials they have to use, some sort of charts they have to use, and because of they wanted to get more money out of the project, they started to use different materials, different components, different charts, and that ended up on the bridge collapsing. This bridge they had to, so one of the bits collapsed, the other one not. So they had to explode the other bit and start over again. This bridge cost about $22 million, and I think the government sued the company, but they didn't have to pay a single penny. So the government had to pay for a new bridge, and this happened in 2019, and the bridge is not being released yet. So we don't have that bridge at the moment. So that was another of our ruins that was created by corruption of the engineering company. This one is one of my favorites as well. This is in Colombia. It's a few blocks from my parents' house. And it's a footbridge that was under construction by the army. So basically, what happened was the army owned these premises and the premises on the other side. Because of a road that was built, they had to give away this land. And this is a university, so they have to like walk say they built this so they could walk across, not have to go outside the premise of the army. So the bridge was this was the design. It was supposed to, this master was supposed to hold the whole thing. And the 2 days before it was open to the public, they had to remove all this scaffolding that was holding the footpath in order for the master to get the tension. So they actually did that. They took the scaffolding out, and they had to do something that's very common in this sort of projects, that they have to put a load on it. They have to put some weight on it. So the weight was, normally you would use water, sand, like heavy stuff. But the army and the contractor thought they could do it with people. So they asked 100 soldiers from the battalion to go and step on the bridge. When that happened, they went and stepped on the bridge. It was only 5% of the total load of the bridge, and the bridge collapsed. That made 42 people injured, and it was a loss on almost $2 million US dollars for that. And it was a bit of a disgrace for the army, because they were using actual human beings to see if a bridge will hold. It was a big scandal, and the company in Constructec had to pay for all the damages for family and for the reconstruction of the bridge as well, due to faulty materials again. So you can start to see a pattern here. So the things like here, when you get a contract, for instance, you're going to build a road, you have to sue a lot of people to get the contract. So like, oh yeah, I'm going to give you 5% of this contract if you give it to me. To the other person, you're going to give it 10%. So you ended up giving about 30%, 25% of the money you're going to get given to build the road in bribes. So when you're going to build your road, you have 30% less money to do it. So what the normally companies do is they start to take money out of materials, designs, workers, to start to recover that money that they had to invest in in getting the contracts. So that's why this corruption, this line of corruption is so bad for the projects, no? And it's over and over and over and over and over again. I think I'll speak a bit about this one, which is quite funny as well. So this is El Puente Binacional Tienditas. Is built in between Venezuela and Colombia, in Cúcuta, which is the border, the most populated border of Venezuela, between Venezuela and Colombia. And they built this bridge, I think 2016. 2016. It was the termination of the bridge. It costed a lot of money. And it was supposed to be very good for the traffic, because as you might know, between Colombia and Venezuela, there is a lot of people coming back and forwards. But obviously, since the crisis in Venezuela and because of the governments, Venezuela and Colombia don't like each other. Since Álvaro Uribe took power here and Maduro is there, the one is left, the other one is right wing. This bridge has been closed. It's been closed. It's got these sort of like things, and the only thing that happened there a few years back, when the president of Colombia now was trying to do a concert. So President of Colombia did a concert in this river, in this bridge, with a lot of artists and things to claim for the people of Venezuela. So this bridge costed, I think, $32 million, and it's still shut. I don't know, or maybe no one knows, but like since the pandemic started, since a bit before that, there's a lot of Venezuelans coming into Colombia. The footbridge is very small. There's no way that many people is coming through the borders like that. So what the people do, they go off roads. They come into the country around off roads, and it's impossible to measure how many Venezuelans are coming into the country. And one of the reasons of that is because of this massive bridge that is not in use. I think last year Venezuela actually took away all these containers, and they were thinking maybe to open the bridge again, but until now I don't think it's open yet. And well, just gonna. It's called Iscoda Bridge. It's in highlands of Santander. My family is from here, and my family is from actually here, San Gil. So I'm close to this area, so I know a bit about it. So basically, what happened was that there is a lot of trucks going around this area of Santander, with goods, with food, with animals, but the road is not very good. It's like a dusty road, and they try to do a new road, and they build this bridge called Iscoda Bridge. It was supposed to be the highest cable bridge in South America. Let's see if we can find a better picture of it. So yeah, it's this one. So it's quite tall. It's quite nice. So they were supposed to. For the truckers as well, it was easier to go through this bridge, go around, take a bit like 2 hours less to this road, to this part of the road. And this was made by a Spanish company called SACIR. So when they finished the road, the bridge, one day the bridge started to do this. So some failure of the design, all the tension started to do this corrugation on the road path of the bridge. So this started to make a big problem between the government that paid for the bridge and the Spanish organization, company that did it. So the Spanish organization said, this is okay, nothing is wrong, this is not affecting the design, this is just a little failure. And the government was saying, maybe not, so we're not gonna receive the bridge, and you have to pay us back. So what SACIR did, I think it's quite funny. They said, no, we're going to do the load of the bridge, and they took seven trucks, fill it up with material, and they put it in the bridge. And they said that was the whole load of the bridge, and that the bridge was okay. Everyone was saying like, come on, this is a massive bridge. Is like it's very long, and you're putting just 7 trucks inside on the top of the bridge. This went on and on and on and on and on for a long time, but at the end, the government had to take the bridge. The bridge is in use, even though it has this failure. And what they said, it was that the bridge didn't have any structural problems. That was aesthetic, and now you can actually drive past this bridge. I personally don't do it because I'm afraid it's gonna collapse. SACIR is a Spanish company that has a lot of projects here in Colombia. They built also El Puente Pumarejo in Barranquilla, up here, Barranquilla. And that bridge also has got problems. So what happens again is that the same sort of things are happening. SACIR is also playing this game of bribing people, getting money here and there in order to get these projects. And then it's also cutting in materials, it's also cutting in designs, it's also cutting in all these other parts to be able to win money out of these projects. And so it's just endemic, it's just what is happening. And the last one I'm gonna speak about is this one, which is one of my favorites as well. It's called El Edificio Space. It's in Medellin. Medellin is the capital of Antioquia. I think I already mentioned that. And this happened, let's see, well, this is when they had to take the whole thing down. Let's put it a little bit. So yeah, like here, the space was this, El Poblado, where this was built, is one of the most, like the richest areas in Medellin. All the rich people live, and they built this, like, it was like a tower, but it was built in pieces, no? Like first this bit, then this bit, until the end. When they give the key to the owners of the building, when people went inside this building, there was a lot of cracks inside the building. That was 2013, actually. So the government, the local authorities went inside and said, "Hey, there's something wrong with this building." And they knew there was a structural problems with the building. And here in Colombia, in order to get a permission to build the building, you have to go and ask to the local authority. The local authority gave the permission to build it, knowing that a piece of land was unstable. So it was not fit for purpose, but they still give the permission, and the construction company did the building. And on 2013, the local authority said, "You have to take everyone out of this building because this building is going to collapse." So that happened. Everyone went out of the building, but the construction company said, like, "No, this is okay, nothing's going to happen, this is not going to collapse," and sent 12 people inside the building to cover the cracks with plaster. When they did that, when the workers were inside the building collapsed and 12 people died out of the negligence of the company. 161 families lost their houses. And until today, there is no resolution to this. The construction company they don't want to take responsibility. So there's like lawsuits everywhere. Everyone wants to get the money back. No one is getting the money back, and it's just over and over and over again. So that's like the way things are working here in Colombia at the moment. I just wanted to share with you how this works and how I start working with this with two examples, or maybe just one, which is the edificio Acuarela. This is one of my favorites these days. In Cartagena, everyone knows where is Cartagena, yeah? Cartagena is kind of the most touristic areas in Colombia. We have like the old city in there, and it's kind of the most beautiful like walled city in Colombia. So everyone likes to go there, and the UNESCO has made it like as a patrimonio de la humanidad. So it's very important for us as a nation to have Cartagena. So in 2013, someone thought it was okay to build a 30-story building next to El Castillo San Felipe. El Castillo San Felipe is one of the most important touristic attractions of Colombia. Here is where all the Spanish used to get in when they have sieges from the British or from other empires, and you cannot build anything around it. It's like there's no way you cannot. You're not allowed. So corruption. Someone went and paid the local authorities for a permission to build this horrible building next to it. So nowadays, you can see it from everywhere. It's just like everywhere you go, you can see it. It's horrible, and also is from this old city. You're supposed to see El Cerro de la Popa, which is another very important part of Cerro Popa. Which is this one. It's a monastery, and it's and it's also very important for the city. So because this building is blocking that from here, the UNESCO said like you cannot be inside the patrimonio, so the heritage. So nowadays we have to take it down. We have to demolish the building, but no one wants to pay for it. No one wants to pay for the demolition of the building. The UNESCO said like if you don't do it by the end of 2022, Cartagena is going to be out of this. So nowadays the Cartagena government is trying to get money from the national government to demolish this thing. So I'm just going to show you what would I do if I wanted to put another pin in this map. I'm just going to go Acuarela. Is it that one? Hold on, maybe it's not that one. No, that's not the one. It's not that one either. So I'm gonna have to put it by eye. So where is the Castillo San Felipe? So Castillo is here. And Edificio Corella will be about here. I'll just put all the information here down and then start to put the images and everything I want to put. This is saved in a Google Drive, and then you can just share it to anyone you want. So, I mean, the whole project is really, really simple. It's just using what is available online, just images. I had to read a lot of this sort of like media kind of news, kind of started to make like a bank of news, like an archive, and then just rewriting everything. So basically what I do is I rewrite and I put it in this like 3 paragraphs, all the ideas and everything that's important for me of every project. And it becomes just like a little archive of these projects. It's just very simple. It's just something that you can do in your spare time. And for me, it was really nice to kind of like not think about big projects, not that I'm just going to make this very big audiovisual work. I'm going to spend months and months and months doing this, just working with this available online, Google Maps and media. And basically that's kind of the whole idea of the project. I don't know if there's comments or questions or anything.
Thank you so much, Juan. It was very interesting, and also terrifying sometimes to see the images and the videos that you shared. I was while we wait for questions or comments from the audience, I was wondering, as you mentioned, one of the projects that you showed had Spanish funding, or like a Spanish company was involved in it. But at the same time, you were mentioning many times that the reason of the collapse of many of these constructions was because of like national, let's say, corruption. I was wondering how much like intervention of foreign companies and governments on all these constructions is going on, or if it is like it is more of like a national issue, like an issue that comes from their own country, or like what's involvement also with foreign companies and governments?
Well, the thing is like there is a lot of companies from abroad that deal with this. So basically you have Spanish, you have Chinese, you have Brazilians, and so on and so on. What happens is like normally is the company from abroad together with a company from Colombia. But the only way you're gonna win one of these contracts is if you right people. So basically how it works is in Colombia, I don't know elsewhere, this is like an open call, let's call it open call. And so like the companies have to bid for the project. So basically they said, oh, we need to build this bridge, there is this amount of money, we need a company with these specifications, and you have to have this experience, and there is the licitation is open for 2 months. And then people come, like companies come and say, oh, we can do it, we have all these credentials. But the thing is that there is the people that look through this, they get bribed. So like the company comes and say like, hey, if you give it to me, even though this other company has a little bit more experience and is going to do it a little bit cheaper, I'm going to give you 5% of the whole contract. So the person that is going to give the permission or is going to give the contract to this company is going to get 5%. And then the other in the other supply chain of this, there's another person that needs to do this, and he's going to get another 5%. So by the end of the of the tournament, you have given away in between 10 and 30% of the contract to people involved on the decision making. But no, it doesn't matter if you are from Spain, if you are from China, if you are from Brazil, you have to do it like that, because if you don't do it like that, you're not going to get the contract. So, so the Spanish companies do it. Brazilian companies, we know they do it, because I don't know if in Europe, something that people knows, but there is Covelli, which was the biggest construction company in Latin America, was writing presidents all over the company, and that was like the way they could build everything. Like in Colombia, they build roads so it's like something that is very common here, and it's the only way to get the contracts.
Thanks a lot, Juan. Also, thanks from my side for the very interesting presentation, and yeah, a very great also invitation perhaps for people to rethink the possibilities of using Google Maps as a sort of a archive. And it reminded me also a little bit of, you know, this idea of citizen journalism that kind of emerged at the early 2000s and so on. So also this kind of democratic approach to reclaim these tools. One question from the chat came from Sonia, who asked if you could explain a little bit more about your method. Where do you store and publish the archive, and how can the public access what you create with the map?
Well, the method, what you could see and visit is this Google Maps. This is I think this is up in Offsite Project's website. I can put the...
Yeah, I shared the link before on the chat, but we can share it again, just in case.
So basically, so what I do is I go through a lot of different news articles, and I start to kind of build a little archive for myself. And then I rewrite what I think is important. And what I do is to get all these kind of images, everything from from the internet, everything from Google or whatever I can find them. And sometimes when I feel like play, I do kind of these illustrations, or I kind of do GIFs or whatever I can play with digital form. And that's what I published on the Google Maps. So basically, if you want to go through it, just go to Google Maps and just start to navigate it. It's as simple as that. It's very, very simple. There's nothing like complicated about it. What I'm gonna do now that this is 2019, I think it's an old project, but because of that, I've been reading again. I'll be getting into it again. So in a couple of months, I'll have a new set of modern ruins, new set of elefantes blancos, as we call them here.
I have also another question, but I'm gonna directly ask Pita, who made the question, to make it directly, because Pita is in fact one of the two founders of Offsite Projects, from whom came the invitation to create this work. So Pita, I think that you're able to unmute now if you want to.
Hi, yes. Hi, Juan. I'm here with Elliot.
Hey.
Hey.
Hello. How you doing?
Hi. Yeah, we haven't seen the talk, and we were wondering if there has been any relationship between this type of practice and some of your more recent works, like El Salto project, because it's very geographical based in a location.
Okay, yeah, in a way, I think the Salto is dealing with other type of problematic, because it's more about the river and more like environmental issues with the river. But it is very important for me now, since I did this project, this first project, to have this relationship with the territory, and that's how it's important for me now. And then through digital things like Google Maps, you can have that relationship you can kind of understand more the territory, because you can see the big picture, and nowadays you can see it in 3D as well. So it's very, very useful. I think it's very useful for me nowadays to kind of think of those issues concerning technology, concerning these sort of things inside the digital kind of tools like Google Maps. So in that sense, I'll kind of put it together. And also, El Salto is the first one of 3 videos. The second one that I mentioned, El Páramo Las Papas, is going to be in El Páramo Las Papas, where the Cauca River begins. And I'll be talking about Eritrango in that video quite a lot. So yeah, it's always connected. Like it's never like something very, very different. So yeah, like I guess, yeah, it is connected, yes.
And sorry to interrupt, Juan, but maybe Pete and Elliot, you could explain a little bit more about the Google Maps project and how the program has started and how is it going, and the ideas behind it. You are muted, I think. No.
Hey again. Yeah, sure, absolutely. So off the top of my head, I think it's about 2017, 2018 that we started the Google Maps residency. And for anyone who doesn't know too much about offsite project, we started in 2017, it's about 5 years ago. We started with like homepage exhibitions, and we slowly sort of unfolded with other components of the online gallery, and the residency was the third sort of strand of programming that we developed. So far, we've had about 16 artists realize projects on it. And the really nice thing about that, Juan talked about it as, you can work quite quickly, and the tools are quite innovative and easy, but there's also a lot of restrictions in what you can do. You can only put down like 3 different sorts of asset types and then populate that with content. There's a limit to the number of layers that can exist inside every single map. So there are these restrictions that the artist has to work between. We advise on, and sort of a collaboration or conversation flows out of that. But also quite often we felt that by working in Google Maps, and we've shifted over the time, like from a shorter period of like 2 months residencies to 3 months, and then 3 months with sort of an event finishing off and things like that. Artists have begun to have a sort of deeper critique about the technology itself, and quite often, even when a project isn't necessarily intentionally starting with like an idea of like, how does this tool work and what does it mean for one corporation to have a monopoly on the way we visualize and map space, those conversations come into dialogue. So through a very simple tool, we've got to quite elongated conversations with people about what the kind of affected reality is.
Thanks a lot. Also from my side, it's great to have you all 3 here, actually. I was thinking about, this idea of Google Maps based work, and especially when you deal with infrastructure. So maybe this is a question for the 3 of you. When you deal with infrastructure, right? And in this case, this crumbling infrastructure is somehow paralleled also by this 404 message, this online network images that stop working, right? Like we've seen a couple that already, I think there's like one YouTube video and then an image also during the presentation that are not working anymore. So there's this interesting paradox almost. We talk about this archive. I think you mentioned Google Maps as an archive. But then it is also very fragile. No? There's this infrastructure that is supposed to, being like this map of the planet with all of this very kind of seemingly reliable information. And it's kind of parallel in your project, also this kind of massive infrastructure which is supposed to, hold up the infrastructure of the communication routes of Colombia, of the world in general. I mean, this is kind of like a problem in general. Like, how do you, I don't know, I guess, do you see a connection, or was there like a connection specifically in using this, or was it more like a lucky coincidence, or how do you see like this idea of infrastructure, both in terms of like network technology and related to the infrastructure that you observed in your project and in the residency that you offer, I guess?
It's just like this is the idea of the network sellers, no? Is there forever. It's always going to be there. The cloud is always going to hold your information, and the infrastructure is never going to broke. But it's not like that at all, you know, like, for instance, what happened like a few days back with the explosion of this volcano, that they couldn't speak to the people inside the island because of the cable, the internet, the submarine cable was broken. So they didn't know what happened. They didn't know what was going there, what was happening there. It was just a little cable that just broke. So when I'm teaching my students about the internet, I have a whole materia, like a whole curriculum on the internet. This is one of the things that I make more like I think all the time is, what is that holding our information? How is it held, and where is it held? And this idea of the cloud is everywhere. It's not everywhere. It's very much a place. It's very much material, and is like if we lose electricity for like an hour, people, like the whole world would just die. Like if we don't have internet for like a day, people just go crazy. So I think is that this networked image is this networked reality that we're living is very fragile, as the constructions in Colombia maybe never cross a bridge here.
Maybe to add to that, from experience at the Google Maps residency, there has been one occasion where we've found that sort of the temporality, the permanence of the content put up by artists has been really challenged. So Jason Isolini, who I think probably did the residency maybe one before or one after you, Juan, the work that was put up was regarding a woman called Elaine Herzberg, who was the first person to die by being hit by an automated vehicle. It was a Uber test vehicle in Tempe, Arizona. And the work was produced around that subject matter and inserted into Google Maps. And because it received attention from online media, the work was taken down by Google, and other works by Jason were removed from Google Maps. He had been using certain software to implant them in. So the sort of permanence of our content online really became pulled into question at that stage, because actually there are moderators who are looking out for these things, or at least there's a system of reporting this sort of stuff up. So with political projects like Juan's and how that worked, obviously there's always a sort of small fractional chance that the content put into a Google Maps system is going to be policed.
I think in terms especially of Google Maps, we tend to see it as a unpoliticized medium, and it's almost a simulation of reality, but it's like quite politicized, and it brings just one vision of the world. And sometimes that vision is ruled not only by the corporation, but also supported by the governments. So it's very interesting, for example, in the case of Juan's residency, like he's showing his perspective of the country and actually like bringing another look into Latin America, like from someone like, like earlier you were like born in the UK, like actually seeing that this more personal narrative, like imagery coming from Latin America is quite interesting, because it's quite politicized. It brings social issues into a platform that usually the way that this platform is used and the way that this residency will take place for a user, it will be just like mapping restaurants that you like, or places that you like shopping, or like very corporate things. So it's nice to bring that challenge into what Google Maps is and what it means for you as a user to looking into this and how you share your content with other people through the platform.
But just want to add something as well. I'm thinking about this, like, for instance, is also a belief, like you believe things are there. For instance, in China, if you put a coordinate in Google Maps, China will move it 10, 15, 14 kilometers from it. So you don't really know what and where are things in China, because China doesn't want you to know. So it's always a belief, like this thing of Google Maps, the way you believe the coordinates and the map looks like. You don't actually know. You don't actually know if this is true or if it's real. So like with this technology, it's always like you are in the borderline. So maybe it's just not that.
Yeah, it's so interesting to think on like those technologies as technologies of trust somehow, in which we like blindly trust, even if we are kind of aware of sometimes we are aware of the politics and the economical and politics interests that are behind them. I just want to bring some questions from the chat, from the public chat. There was another question for Juan, in this case, from Michael, saying that just an observation, as money laundering is such a big concern in normal business, is there a possible motive of money laundering behind these disasters? This implies that the projects are meant to fail in return for insurance claims. So like creating them just to launder money and like being like a failure in purpose.
I'm not sure with that. Like, I'm sure they are. I'm sure there are some of these projects that have money laundering, but they're more like private sort of projects. You know, like for instance, if you go to the coast here in Colombia, there's a lot of buildings that they're like empty. They're just like there's no one living there.
Mm-hmm.
This is sort of like money laundering things, but like with these massive big constructions for the government, I don't think so. I think there's more like corruption. It's more like other sort of like, obviously money laundering is corruption, but I think it's another sort of like practices that have to be more with what I explained. That would be my take, but I'm not an expert.
I think that Marco got another question, but I can like also bring it up. It was, I think, a question from Sonja. Do you want to go for it, Marco? Or?
Sure.
I think we're gonna.
Yeah. Thank you all. Thank you, Pete and Nelly. Sorry.
Thank you so much. Although it was related to something that Peter said, I think, because Sonia asked if this censorship that Peter mentioned can be prevented. Or can the work just be removed with impunity? So I guess it's more a question about the removal of media in this case, right?
Do you want to say something, Elliot?
Yeah.
No? I think they're gone.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
I would say yes. Obviously, they will take it out without any. With any concerns, like you can take down the
I think it happens a little bit when you navigate the space so much that you forget it's private. It's like similar to people putting graffitis in buildings. Like ultimately, the person that owns the space can eliminate it, and you don't have real ownership with it. And I think it will be like a similar case, for example, with Jason's work. Like we couldn't do anything to save it, and I think it's related to what Juan was talking about, like how things are very ephemeral, but we take them for granted sometimes.
A real kind of direct equivalent is anyone who's posted on Instagram and had content removed because it's been flagged either by an algorithm or an algorithm passed over to someone on some extremely low wage in an offshored job to determine whether or not it breaches certain guidelines, and we all see that pretty regularly. So, you know, that sort of policing of content exists really thoroughly. It's there. It's within inside every sort of major social media, and those arguments have been going on since 1996, since with the US Congress had debates around how internet media to be treated, precisely because they saw them at the time as being equivalent to radio or TV broadcast services responsible for the content. And some sort of in-between state has been agreed where they are semi-responsible and really, for the most part, not. But in Jason's case, because I know George has kind of thrown a question in there about did they give an explanation? The explanation was that Google Maps is not for artworks. That was the explanation they gave, but the truth was they obviously have financial interest in the development of technology, and they forced a settlement out of court over Miss Herzberg's death and discredited her publicly by blaming the accident on her previous drug needs. So they deframed her publicly and settled that by shouting it down, basically, by taking any blame away. So a weird mix of things happened there.
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you for coming back as well. I guess that we have like a last question, maybe from Stu, because we've been already like over an hour here. Stu is asking if the level of corruption nationally must be incredibly disparaging, and how does this affect the everyday person? He asks, Stu asks, if this project in some respects is cathartic for you, Juan.
How to affect us as an everyday person? Well, all the time, no? Well, we have to go across those roads. We have to take those business. We have to live in those houses. For instance, there is an example that happened elsewhere. It happened in Mexico last year. One of the metro lines collapsed, and there were about, I think, like 30 people died in that thing, and it was the same sort of thing, like just corruption. So it affects us all the time. Like it's something that we have to live with it all the time. Like sometimes they open a road and say that they're gonna say, oh, we're gonna fix this road. Then 3 years later, the road is still open and there's no road. So it's something that we have to learn how to live. And if this project was cathartic, well, in a way, yeah, because as I mentioned, I was coming back from the UK. I was coming back from another sort of society, and I had to get used to Colombia again. I have to get used to the ways here, and this was a way to understand the society I have to live in, and and understand it, and see how, I don't know, I don't think art can change anything, but art can point things. So maybe just point something in one direction, and I think that's what I wanted to do with this project.
Thanks so much, Juan. Actually, there's one more question from Sonia, who I might have missed because she asked me to find it again, about art and accountability. Maybe, Sonia, you can write it in the public chat while I try to find it in my backlog. If it's such a pressing matter. Sorry, the chat is.
Yeah.
What role does art have in holding public officials accountable?
None. That would be my like, as I said, like just to point things out in a direction, just like make it visible. But I think if justice or like other parts of the society cannot have these people accountable, no one can.
Mhm.
And that's the whole thing. Like they able to get away with it every time.
Mhm.
So it's just, as I said, just try to point something there, and that's how an artist can work. Like we cannot think like we're changing the world, we're going to change the world, we're going to change Colombia. That's not going to happen. So it's just like maybe the only thing that we can do is catharsis with digital arts, you know, like maybe that's the only thing we have to do. And I think like that's like we can vote, we can try to get other leaders up, and that's how I can see this can change, but not without, I think.
Well, on this moderately inspiring and realistic, optimistic note, I would like to thank you once again so much, Juan, for this wonderful screen walk and this great project. And I invite everybody to go and check more thoroughly the maps and all his other projects, as well as the offsite project and Google Maps residency and all the project at large.
Yeah, thank you also from my side, Juan, and it's been great to have you with us. Also, thank you to everyone, to all the audience. Thank you to Offsite, to Peter and to Elliot, who have been so generously participated also on the event tonight or today or this morning, depending where you are connecting from. Just to say that we have like the next screen walk in 2 weeks with Mexican curator Doreen Rios, who will be with us. So please join us. And also, like we remind you that we have our archive with more than 40 screen walls so far since we started. So yeah, thank you, Juan, and thank you everyone for coming.
Thank you guys for the invite. Good to hear that Doreen is gonna do it. She's well. That's Suki. Hi Suki, how are you doing?